Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with a little bit of a different video. Um, Usually I don't do these videos until after week 7, so like the halfway point, but I thought it would be interesting to get this done, like do it I guess halfway in between, so I guess like now, like end of week 3, end of week 4. Obviously Chris and Chase will play their week 5, so like theirs will be, not super weighted more, but you know what I mean. Like they've played a little bit more games than some people, so whatever. But regardless, we are here with not the weekly power rankings, but sort of, I had some bold predictions coming in. Obviously, I rated everyone a lot higher than obviously like mathematically allowed because everyone can't win that often, so I don't know what music to play, man. I have the AOT soundtrack on right now, but I don't know. What am I feeling? I guess I'll just keep it going. Fuck it. But yeah, I want to do the overall power rankings and kind of give my predictions for playoffs and stuff. I guess another thing that'd be kind of good to pull up would probably be challenge. Oh god, tournaments. I guess I should probably log in. Alright. So, everyone but Sal should know this, but this is what our playoffs look like. Obviously, this was last season's and the results of the games. But how it works, I guess I'm just going over it for Sal, and I guess anyone that kind of forgot. The 1, 4, 2, and 3 seeds. So the 1 through 4 seeds, I guess is the best way to put it. Those are for division leaders. So, let me pull this up as well. Which, if you want to keep track of who the div leader is in your division, the record next to your team's kills, that is your divisional record. So I'm 2-0, JC's 1-1, all that good stuff. And regardless of your actual record or not, so like you can go 6 and 8. Yeah, 6 and 8. You can go 6 and 8, but as long as all 6 of your wins are divisional wins, you will make playoffs. So that's why divisional games are very important, because if you win those games, then your other games don't matter. All that good stuff. So the first 4 seeds are for divisional leaders exclusively. Now the league is cut in half right here. This is why we have divisions and conferences. That only leaves 2 seeds open. So there's 8 people in a conference, so 2 spots open for 6 players for the wild card slots, I'll call them, on each side. So so obviously there's 8 people gunning for, so 4 people gunning for div leader and only 1 person can get it, but there's, I guess, 8 or 6, however you want to look at it, gunning for the wild card slots. Which, makes it very stressful because it's not a lot of space. If you're not a div leader, there's only 2 spots open for you, which makes it very scary. So let me go back here. So yeah, we already see kind of who like the early runnings are for the div leaders. I'm in my division. We have to see if Biff wins his game against Josh. I think they're playing tomorrow, he said. I think he just typed that in the chat. If Biff can win, Tanner's clear ahead. But if Biff loses, then it's kind of a 2-man showdown here. And then when Josh and Tanner play week 6, it'll become a lot more interesting. Then in Chris's division, he's the leader. He's a game ahead of everyone. And then Sal is ahead down here. Now, with enough stalling and enough, I guess, just going over everything again, it's time to get into it. Worst team in the league comes to, I guess, no one's real surprise, is Nick. Nick is having, I mean, he's not having a bad season. I mean, I think his team is like cool. It's not, you know, he has a lot of mons that are like good. His only real standout mon to me is like Alakazam and Lele. But other than that, his team, like Landorus, I mean, it almost won me a championship in season 2, so I don't cap like too hard on it. But like, his team just feels weird to me. I don't think it's bad by any means. I think his team is fine, but I think the issue is that he's doing what Croc did last season, where he kind of just like sack a team spot or just points. Croc did that with Abomasnow last season. He only brought like 2 or 3 games, which, to be fair, it's Abomasnow, so kind of do that. But not bringing Rotom Frost to a single game as your Terra Captain feels really bad. He's Electric and Ice, which means if you Terra Electric, you just have supercharged electric moves and you're not weak to anything. And if you're Terra Ice, your Blizzards are going to hurt a lot. And if you don't nurse Blizzard, like Terra Blast Ice is still going to hurt a lot. So I would like to see Rotom come to more games just because, like, he's your Terra Captain. You know what I mean? You're kind of playing at a disadvantage by doing so. Sorry, I'm fat and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat. Yeah, Nick, I mean, as rooted as it is, it's just real. He's probably not making playoffs, but it's like I said at the beginning of the season. If he can aim for that 4-10, double his wins from last season, I'll consider this a successful season for him. I think he's definitely been getting better. Almost brought me to a game 3. And he almost beat Chris, which is hard. Chris has been top coach for a full season now, almost full season and a half. So yeah, Nick, stocks are looking up, but he plays Sal this week. Gonna be a very tough game for him. But if he can just show that he can bring it to Sal, I might have hopes for him for getting that 4 wins. It's a matter of if he will. Next up, we have Croc. Now, I know a lot of people are probably expecting me to put Preston here, but I think Croc is next up. Croc is having not a very good season. He started out with Screen Tell as his only weather setter, which is terrible. I don't know how Tanner convinced him to do that. That was just the most troll thing ever. And then I recommended Zard Y and Whim just because, like, Zard auto gets Sun Up and Whim, if you really need to, you can Prankster it instead of Screamtail. But I mean, I don't mean to be like a KD guy, because especially in Pokemon, it doesn't really tell a whole lot. But Mega Charizard is at 0-4. I mean, for a Pokemon that hits as hard as it does, not having any kills in 4 games, I mean, 2 sets but 4 games, it's not, you know what I mean, like, it feels really bad. Realistically, the only thing on his team that's, like, really pressuring people is the Walking Wake, of course, but other than Walking Wake, I mean, Brute is, like, he has 3 things with kills on his team. He has Deoxys, Brute, and Wake. Sakataka got 1 kill, but literally, those 3 are the only thing doing literally anything on his team. So, I think Croc just drafted a team he's not super comfortable with. He had Screamtail, which Manual Sunsetter feels real bad. And then, you know, Charizard being weak to rocks and you can't run boots feels real bad. Like, he just has a team that he's not comfortable with, and it's showing. Um, like, his game against Tanner, for example, like, you, I don't know, like, if someone leads like an Iron Treads against you, right? Or just like anything that could have rocks. When you're on team preview and you have a Mega Charizard Y and you see the rocks that are there, you have two options. You either lead Charizard and pressure them out with a Solar Beam or a Fire move, because they're usually ground, rock, or steel types you can kill with either Solar Beam or Fire Blast or Flamethrower. Either kill them, turn one, prevent the rocks, scare them out, or you just kind of hold Zard in the back, play it delay. Obviously, Treads is faster than you, so I'll give you that. Like, you didn't know how much speed investment he had, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where Zard Y, you have to play aggressive. You cannot use him like a Torkoal where you just use him as Sunbot. Charizard Sun is very selfish. Like, Mega T-Tar and Zard Y's weathers are very self-centered. They're only 5 turns, so they're not super long, but they really benefit them specifically. And I think, you know, I think Zard Y, it can be tricky, especially in drafts, because of the Rock's weakness, but I don't know. I think, especially with how well Croc played last season, it's just, it feels bad to watch him, like, not have a win yet, but I think, I don't know. I think that the Brute and Wake have shown big promises. Deoxys speed, he's struggling a little bit with, but it's still fine because it is just Deoxys speed. Yeah, I think Croc playoffs might be out of the picture just because he really just doesn't look like he understands his team a whole lot. Like, he's really been struggling to get Zard in and out. And I mean, I guess in the league where I say the league has got more competitive than ever, and I do believe it's gotten more competitive, but I mean, if you just look at the rankings, like, the league is the most uncompetitive it's ever been. We have 2 teams that are undefeated, and we have 3 teams that haven't gotten a single win yet. Like, obviously we're still very early on into the season, but I don't think we've ever had this many teams with no losses or no wins, so it's very weird. Like, Season 4 has been kind of weird for me. Like, not in a bad way, but just, like, standings-wise. Yeah, Croc I'm going to put here. It really pains me a lot to say that, because I really like, obviously, it's such a weird, that's such a weird, I'm not even going to say it's such a weird compliment, but, I was gonna say I really like Croc, but it's like I really like everyone in here, so like that doesn't mean a whole lot. But Croc is just having a struggling season, and I think the moment he kind of figures out how to get Zard in and out a lot, be good for him. I think maybe bringing Whimsicott to more games will help a lot, because Zard has the Sun. It allows you to run Chlorophyll if you don't want to run Prankster, which means, like, say there's like a dark type in the game, like I don't know, like let's look at Tanner's team with Darkrai, right? I keep bringing up Tanner, but I just saw he had a fast dark type on his team. So let's say you had Sun up, you can't Prankster T-Wave the Darkrai because he's a dark type. What if you got Whim in the Sun with Chlorophyll, you outspeed, you can T-Wave it, you know what I mean? So it's just getting more creative in your prep. Obviously, Gligar not the fastest, so it's just like a slow defogger. Maybe you bring Whim just to auto get rocks off. It helps you a lot. I don't know. I think Whimsicott will help this team a lot. I think Colossal rapid spinning with boots could be a big help. Because Croc's team has like a lot of weaknesses, but he also has things that immune a lot. So he's going to have to make a lot of hard reads with this team just in the nature of it, because like you stack attack on Colossal, which are super weak to ground. But he has a Mega Charizard and a Brute Bond and Gligar. You have a Escavalier and Gligar that are 4 times weak to fire and ice. You have Walking Wake. Like, he has a lot of things that are weak to common things, but he has a really good switch into those things. Then he just has like a Deoxys speed thrown in there just for like immense speed, and you just get chips. So Croc, I wouldn't call it out of the race yet, but I think if he loses 1 or 2 more games, he's probably out, because you have to think about it, right? He went 8-6 last season, and he didn't even make playoffs until, obviously if Wu won, it was still like very, very likely that Croc made playoffs just because the differential gap. But Croc, you know what I mean? Like, if he, let's say he goes down 0-6, you have to win 8 games in a row just to get your record from last season. And that, you know, I'm the only coach to have ever been on a win streak that long, I believe. Maybe JC has done it like season 2. I know he was like 15-1, or no, he was like, he only lost 1 game. How do you gain? I think we did 18, so I think he was like 17-1. Yeah, he was like 17-1 or something, but, or 16-2. He's one of the 2. Yeah. Regardless, it's not easy to go 8-0 in a league. So if Croc loses like 1 or 2 more games, I think the season's over for him. So definitely time for Croc to step it up. I think he has shown signs of life, but it's looking tough. Next up, we have Preston. Preston, I still don't like his team, even remotely, but changing Typhlosion to the Terra Captain, picking up Sandy Shocks, have been the steps in the right direction. I mean, he got robbed out of his game against Wu. He literally should have won. The difference between Croc and Preston for me is that Preston actually should have a win. Croc, I mean, he's had close games, but he never looked like he's gotten 2-0'd every game. Granted, that doesn't show the whole story. I think his game against Josh could have went very differently. I think, who else did he play? I forget who else he played, but I think there's like one other game that could have went very differently. Obviously, his game against me and Tanner, not so much, but played me, Josh. Dude, I don't even know. Oh, he played Sal. Yeah, like, his game against Josh could have been 50-50, but besides that, hasn't been too competitive. Obviously, his schedule has been super hard. He's played like 4 of like the top teams that's been in Big Juice, but last season he beat Tanner pretty convincingly, and then Tanner beat him kind of convincingly later on. He's usually been able to keep up, you know what I mean? Like, Croc has never been like a pushover coach, so regardless, I'm going on to Preston. I've been Croc for way too long, Jesus Christ. But regardless, Preston should have beat Wu. He should have beat Noah that 1 game, but he clicked play rough and missed. It's one of those things where it's like you hit play rough and you win that game. You click Leech Life, you at least guarantee damage if something else can kill Fergraph. Obviously, it's a 10% chance. Preston got hacks out of his brains there, but to say he should have won the set, you know, I'm never gonna take a win away from someone, so he should be 1-3, but that still isn't the greatest. Preston has been kind of, I mean, game 1 against me, he looked pretty good, and I think there's like one other set that he looked pretty good in. But in general, it's been a little bit of a struggle for him. I think Sandy Shocks will add a lot to the team, but in general, I think Preston's. I just, you know, you have a Ninjask and a Sco villain. Like, I don't know. I don't see it, but we will see. But for me, these 3 are like very clear. These are like very clear, like the bottom teams. Like, they're not a whole lot you can convince me otherwise. Like, this is the bottom 3. Go to the top. I'll say me, and then no. Well, I'm putting the team name, so I guess I should do that. Then I'll do Sal. So I think this is like the very clear top of the league. Oh god. I forgot to do the highlighter. Alright. The reason I'm putting myself over Sal is for two reasons. One, yes, Sal has had a much harder schedule than me. I played I played the 3 teams that don't have wins yet. I played Sal week, I played Croc week 1, Preston week 2, Nick week 3. Then I played JC. My thing is though is it's JC, so that's a hard game. Even if his record is 2-2, if he beats me, he's 3-1. We're both 3-1. You know what I mean? So it's like JC is still a tough coach, and he had the matchup 1000% there. But so did Sal in his game against Curse, and he won. Really, the reason I put Sal underneath me was his game against Amnez last week. I mean, just plain and simple, he should have lost that set. I haven't had a set yet where it's looked like I lost. Granted, again, I know my schedule's been a lot easier in this beginning of the season, but even in my game against JC, it wasn't particularly close. I mean, game 1, he probably should have won, but game 2 is pretty in my favor. I don't think he really should, like, much of anything there, to be honest. Like, not dissing JC, but we kind of both agreed after this set that game 2 was pretty rough. Sal has... I haven't even been to a game 3 yet this season. Granted, my game against Nick could have been. My game against JC could have been. Should have been. But Sal's been to a couple game 3s, and he should have lost a set, so that's really the main reason. But other than that, me and Sal are dominating right now. And this is why I did this, because there's a very clear top 2. There's very clear bottom 3. Obviously, when you have 3 teams defeated and 2 teams undefeated, it do be like that. But regardless, it's time to move into the meat and potatoes of this, the center of it all. Oh god. Like, I don't even know who to put here, bro. I dead ass don't know who to put at 13th, because the middle of the league, like, it's tough. It's tough. I'm probably gonna put Biff. I think Biff is... Obviously, he hasn't played Josh yet, and that could vary. Like, that game will sway my opinion a lot on Biff's season. It really will. Because we're seeing history repeat itself. He came out of week 1 looking real strong, and he just has been losing. And this is what happened last season. He beat Croc week 1, then he lost like 6 or 7 games in a row. This game against Josh is pretty monumental for his season, because it prevents him from going down 0-2 in division. He stays at 1-1, keeps his head up, and it stops that snowball of losses pretty early on. If Biff is to win this game, his position in my power rankings goes up a lot, but until we see that set against Josh, I can't really put him too high up, because he's showing very similar signs of last season, and that's not looking good for him. So for Biff, probably 13th in my book for now, but again, like I said, could be very different if a couple things shake up, so we'll see. Next up, God, who has Amnaz lost to? He's 1-3. Like, how did this happen? Okay, so he lost to B, but it was close. He beat Chase, but it shouldn't have went to a game 3. He lost to Josh. Who did he beat? How's he 1-3? Who did he beat? Am I blind? So he's 1-2. He lost that set against Josh. Or Sal. He lost the game against... Oh, he beat Chase. Dude, I'm gonna have to put Mnez here. I mean, I'll color code it at the end, but for Mnez, like, granted, he should have. Mnez should have. Dude, this is so tough, bro. I really put Mnez this low, bro. Do I do it? Do I do it? It feels cursed. It feels cursed. Dude, I don't know if I can do that to my boy. Oh my god, dude. Alright, hold on. Let me look over everyone else in the league real quick. Alright. We're gonna put Mnez here. Mnez is granted he should have beat Sal, so he should be 2-2. But regardless of that, I would still put Mnez here. Just because his expectations in my eyes and I think everyone else's eyes is a lot higher. You know, funny meme, haha, regular season Mnez, but it's true. It's just I don't know what it is. And especially since he lost to Sal in a game like, you know, he should have won. It's very scary for him because the only reason he made, I mean, not the only reason, but a big part of why he made playoffs last season was because he was dominating his division. Granted, he didn't even win. It came down to differential because him be tied. But regardless, he won because he had a solid lead in division. Now with Sal leading, game over Mnez, it's looking scary. Sal very could sweep the division, and then outside of that, like, if Mnez doesn't get the div leader, like, Chase is up 2 games on him. Chase is 3-2, Mnez is 1-3. If Josh doesn't win division, Josh is also up on him right now. Like, it's looking tough. It's looking tough. But I have faith that Mnez will make playoffs, but this is looking very not good for Mnez right now. It's looking pretty tough. Yeah, next up, what do I want to do? God, this might be a hot fucking take. Might be a hot fucking take. I would have scored up too far. That would have been bad. Let me see something. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do this. 11th, we have the Saskatchewan Sweetcoons and Woo. I think Woo has had a decent start to the season. Obviously, he's 2-2, so you can't be like super upset about anything. Oh, he's right here. I'm blind. Okay. But it's kind of like his team on paper just looks weird. It's hard, like, it's a very U-turn centric team. His team just looks weird to me. I don't know. It's just one of those things. But I think Woo has definitely, like, not terribly bad. You know, I mean, I might be kind of selling him short here at 11th, but The reason I'm putting him pretty low, like a little bit lower than I guess everyone else would expect me to, I guess. Shedtail has been pretty AFK this season. Cyclozar has not been really present. I feel like, and that's kind of the issue with Cyclozar Shedtail versus Orthworm, is you're using Cyclozar Shedtail almost as like a free switch-in for something. So, because like, Boost Team is very frail. So he can like Shedtail Dormanitan in so it doesn't take damage. You know what I mean? So, but in general, I don't think there's been one game where we've actually seen the Shedtail support a substitute for something. It's literally just been used as like a block stack, and God, I'm referencing Smite terms, but it's kind of been used as like a free switch for something, which isn't bad. I think that's like kind of Cyclozar's purpose of the Shedtail compared to Earthworms, but it definitely just feels underwhelming just watching it. Maybe it has more implications than I do. I don't know. But I think Wu, it's weird because I think he should have beat. I think he should have beat Tabs, but Tabs played very well. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna diss my boy Tabs like that. But I think in general Wu he's made all of his games close. I think he's been to like a game 3 almost every week. His game against B really, really impressed me. I don't think that should have been as close as it was. No, I'm not putting Wu this low. That just feels bad. I'm putting Noah here. Reason I'm putting Noah here is because I was very high on Noah coming into the season. I really was. And I don't think he's like disappointed too much yet. Like, who has his 2 losses been to? Let's see here. He beat Tanner week 1. He lost to JC. He lost to Chris. So like, he lost to 2 teams that are like historically pretty good in Big Juice, but I think Noah, like, his top 3 is just so threatening. Veladios, Annihilate, Ting Lu is just scary as hell. Farigarath has been one of the best Terra captains in the league out of nowhere, essentially. And Empoleon, like, I was very high on it. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but he hasn't even brought it to a game yet. Oh, he brought it to 1 game. But I don't, like, it's kind of like I was saying before, like, I don't know. I think Noah is always one of those people I always rate super highly, and he, like, not that he doesn't live up to the expectations I have in my head of him, which is weird to say. Obviously, Farigarath being the Terra captain has been huge for him, but I think Annihilate not being the Terra captain has been really bad for him. I think Pokemon like Annihilate and Roaring Moon, if they are your Terra captain, they're extremely oppressive and OP, like borderline broken. If they're not your Terra captain, I don't think they're worthy of drafting, personally. Like Annihilate, yes, its base stats are still incredible as just a base mon. But if you're not using that bulky set, setting up those Rage Fists, it's a tier 2 mon. Like, in my opinion, like, that's why we had a tier 2 last season, is because, like, outside of Terra, I don't think it's that good. I think it's so fine. I think it's better than Roaring Moon without Terra for sure, but I think there's some Pokemon that are like very strictly Terra captains, and Annihilate is one of them. And I think Annihilate being not Terra this season has been kind of, I want to say hurting his season, but I think Farigarath has been going crazy, so it's like making up for it in a way. But this slot just feels pretty underwhelming right now. Obviously, he's doing better than some of the coach that I'm holding out for right now, and I guess you guys can kind of guess, but I think he'll be fine. I can see him making playoffs this season, but we'll just have to see. Next up, I'm gonna put JC. I think JC has had like an okay season so far. He lost to me and B, which is like Urshifu things, and then against me he should have beat me. Obviously he didn't. Yeah, I don't know how he lost that matchup, and that's really why I have him down so low, is because he should have beaten me. His matchup was very in his favor. I think the biggest thing for me that's like making me like JC's biggest hater right now is he does not like Mixed Valiant, which is like the whole point of drafting Iron Valiant, is because its coverage and stats are impossible to switch into. Like, bro has a move from every typing in Pokemon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this Pokemon is insane. Your physical bulk is not bad. Like, 74 HP, 90 defense, that's not terrible. Obviously, 60 Speed F is like where kind of exposed a bit, but I mean, in general, you're decently physically bulky. I think also it kind of the same thing as Nick, where you have a low tier Terra Captain just for the points. I think he should probably get rid of Clawitzer if it doesn't come soon. Just get something else. Surely there's something else in tier 5 that can be a better Terra Captain. One that stands out in my mind instantly is Dreadnought. I think Dreadnought as a Terra Captain is kind of broken, especially in tier 5. In the past like 2 or 3 seasons we've done the tiering, we always talk about moving Dreadnought up because it doesn't deserve to be tier 5 in my mind, but no one drafts it, so we keep it there. I think with that thing with Terra's OP, I think a lot of things in like tier 4 or 5 with Terra's OP, but yeah. I think JC, I mean, he's been doing very well at the Crook, and he recently got Scizor, which is very good. I think JC's team is actually super scary. It's just, we saw it last season too, where he just like developed this like MS thing where he just doesn't perform in the regular season. Obviously, he's more consistent than MS because he had that end of the season run. We said JC was in a slump, and he was like 3 and 4 halfway through the season, which like isn't great, but it's not bad. Like, he's cutting it even almost, and then he like teared through the rest of the season and went like 8 and 6. So JC I'm not super worried about, but choking his set against me kind of put me a little bit lower on him than I think I probably should have. Next up is someone I'm rating a lot higher than maybe they should be getting credit for, and that's Tabs. And that is because I think Tabs has had, you know, he's 1 and 3, but the only game I think he probably should have lost was this game against Sal. I think Sal just kind of played better than him. I mean, it was a very close game regardless, but I'm not taking that one away from Sal. But, I mean, you look at the games he's played, right? Week 1, he played Wu, won. Week 2, played Sal. That's like the one game he, you know, should have lost. But last week against Tanner, week 3, kind of got his brain taxed out of. In my mind, definitely should have won that set. Even Tanner said at the end of this video, he probably shouldn't have won that set. I mean, it just, that was the most incredible set I've ever seen in my life. Then, who did he play last week? He set against Chase. Granted, that came down to him being a fucking idiot, but he put himself in a position where he shouldn't have lost. And even then, he clicked Outrage. He probably shouldn't have clicked Outrage, all things considered. Not the greatest play. But he got, like, the absolute min-roll on T-Tar and then died. You know what I mean? It's like, Tabs, in my mind, should be 3 and 1. And he should be higher up on the list. And I want to put him up higher on the list. But because he's 1 and 3, I have to put him here. I think Tabs has had a really, really good season so far. It's just, got the set against Tanner, I ain't gonna talk about that. That's the worst set I've ever seen in my life. But his game against Chase is like, you just click Vicious Ren. If he goes to volley, just switch out into Torn or something, bro. Like, I don't understand it. I think Torn is a lot. I'm not even going to go through the replay. I know that Vicious Ren was the play. I just know it. I know it in my heart. He should have clicked Vicious Ren regardless. Regardless. Tabs, as long as his mental doesn't break, I think he will be fine. Because Tabs has been having a crazy season. Obviously, should be 3-1. You're 2 games behind at 1-3. It looks terrible, but the feeling of those games, you know you should have won. That's all that matters. I think Tabs is in a really good spot to like start getting the season moving. I think his team is very scary, and the Dracovish has been going insano mode for him. So I think for Tabs, definitely, like, it's a very frustrating season. I get it, but I think this is where the season can start to turn around for him. And I would expect Tabs in playoffs this season. I really do. Obviously, this is more of like a mental thing, so we'll see. But Tabs has been having a good season. I'm looking forward to it. God, how long has this video been so far? 40 minutes. All right, we got to hurry this shit up. Next up, I'm going to put Wu. Yes, because I've typed in his team name so much, I just know how to spell Saskatchewan now, so thank you, Wu. Yeah, Wu, he's had a weird one for me, because I think he's playing fine, but it's like, I mean, I kind of talked about him earlier, so, like, I guess we don't have to get too in-depth, but I think for Wu, it's just, he always keeps his head afloat, which is all you can ask. But the past 2 seasons, that hasn't led to a playoff appearance yet, unfortunately. It's been super close both times, but matter of the fact is, it did not lead to a playoff appearance. So, I think that Wu is fine right now. But, again, he's always on this borderline of playoffs. It's just going to see how this season ends out. Number 7. God, who do I want to put here? Who do I want to put here? God, bro, I feel like I just have the hottest takes today, and I really want to do it. Let me see something. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. God, I'm gonna get DMs after this video. Holy. But I'm gonna put Tanner here. Right now, he is the 4th team in the league at 3-1 plus 13. Which is like, you know, maybe Taz being... God, I have some hot takes today. But Taz being this high and Tanner being this low, people are probably like, why am I doing this? My thing with Tanner is... he should have lost that game to 2 Tabs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Should have lost. We're sitting at 2-2, which isn't bad. But it's kind of why I have Mnez and JC so low, is because I expect more from him. His game against Noah was very, very good, but just fell a little bit short, which is like whatever. That's fine. But instantly made some very strange trades that, you know, I'm going to stop harping on. But even in his game against Biff week 2, like, for how bad Biff was, like, for how bad Biff was playing that set, it should not have been that close. Flat out, it should not have been. If someone is playing that bad, it should never be that close. And that's why, like, after that game, I was, like, super frustrated, because, like, I don't think Tanner played well at all. I think Biff literally just beat himself. And honestly, like I've been saying all season, I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't think Tanner's team is particularly good, and I think he said it the other night himself. Like this team does not. It doesn't feel strong to me, and I know that's like a very like subjective feeling, but I think like the Darkrai Naganadel is like the duo, but you just run Spadef on everything. Like, he doesn't have a physical threat on his team. His biggest physical threat is a Titan, which, God, we saw how that went last season. So his best physical threat is Treads, but he has to bring it defensive more than anything sometimes. So, like, you literally just do max Spadef on everything. You don't have to worry. Like, Tanner's team is very flawed. Hasn't been playing the greatest. Should be 2-2 right now. Maybe even 1-3 if Biff didn't fuck himself in the ass. I don't know. But regardless, I'm not very big on Tanner. I think he's had like a not good start to the season. I think his record is very inflated of what it should be. I think him and Tab should have reverse records. I think Tanner should be 1-3, and I think Tab should be 3-1. That's just how I see it. Obviously, we can argue about this in the Discord after I post this video, but that's just how I see it. But obviously, we're only 4 weeks in, not even halfway through the season. Obviously, I will redo this video at halfway through the season. But for now, I am not a big fan of Tanner this season. I think his wins have been more about his opponents not playing good, or the game fucking his opponents in Tabs' case, than him getting himself into winning positions. Next up is pretty 50-50 between Josh and Chase. I'm probably going to put Chase above him. Obviously, I think this is like pretty like subjective. I think you can like kind of change these two however you want. For Josh, his team is probably the scariest team. I would say him and Chris probably like the scariest teams on paper just to look at. What the fuck is Josh? Right here. Yeah, just Dragapult, Drake Tusk on the same team with something like Galarian Slowking Hydreigon. Just super scary. And I think obviously this game against Biff is like big for both of them. Like, does Josh stay a top team, or does Biff like kind of keep it even? You know what I mean? But in general, I think Josh is kind of sitting in this weird spot for me where like if he goes 2-2, it's not terrible. But if he drops to me at 2-3, he probably drops down a little bit on the power rankings. Next 2 weeks will be big for Josh, and like my gut feeling of like how I think he's performing this season. But for right now, I think he's just slightly behind Chase. Obviously, Chase has played 2 more games than him, because yeah, Josh only played 3. Chase has played 5. Josh only played 3 so far. But for Chase, I mean, you know, I've been on this Chase copium for 4 seasons now, and he's finally proving me right. I mean, Chase is having a very good season. He's doing magnificent with Manaphy. T-Tar's going crazy. I mean, T-Tar's what? 20-8? That's insane. That's really good. Like, look at the difference between Chase's Weather Setter and Crocs. Crocs is 0-4, and Chase's is 20-8. Like, Chase knows how to play around his Weather Setter better. Obviously, it's a little bit easier, I would say, just because you're not quad weak to rocks, so I'll give Croc that. But regardless, T-Tar is going insano mode. Drake has been doing its thing, but Manaphy and Enamorus have been like the stars of the show. Even Prince Volley. I mean, Chase's team is just super threatening. He hasn't even been bringing the drill that often, which has been surprising me, but just having drill in the back as a threat is just like crazy. Chase, I'm very high hopes on now. I mean, I've been on that copium for years, and even at the beginning of the season I was, but I didn't want to like publicly say it because Chase is always like, don't hype me up, I'm going to do bad. But Chase, I'm very big on this season. Very strong, and I'm excited for the boy. I think he's having a great season. I think if he keeps this up, playoffs is definitely in the picture for him. Last 2 spots, What do I want to do? This is also probably going to be another hot one, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to put Chris over B. Seems a little weird because B has a lot more differential, which, I mean, that's not the biggest deal in the world, you know what I mean? But I think Chris has like a better understanding of his team. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, I was really hating on B a lot because he was making Torn look like a bozo, being a tailwind bot, but he's proved me wrong. He's starting to like actually use it well, so like that argument's kind of out the window. But in general, I think Chris's team just has a little bit, just a little bit more. And I don't think Chris's team is really meant for differential. I think he just gets his threats in Spectre low punny set up, and they kind of just do their thing. And then he just has like 3 powerhouse offensive threats like low kicks, Entei, and Thunderous in the back. B's team is a lot more reliant on Urshifu doing things. Like he only brought Darm to 1 game so far. Altaria came to a couple, but I don't think did a whole lot in them, if I'm not mistaken. Like what is Altaria's kills looking like? So it's like doing fine, but like, I mean, I guess you can make the same argument for Curse's team. Like nothing is really getting kills with Spectre here, but Megalopunny is a lot. So for B, it's kind of what everyone was kind of expecting this season. It is kind of just the Urshifu show, but I think like it's not like a bad thing. Like if you're gonna funnel everything into one Pokemon, like that's it's a very 50-50 thing, but I think it's fine. But I think this is kind of just like a personal preference thing. I think Chris's team just has a little bit more, and I think Chris has just shown historically to be better. I say better than B, but I just mean like league wide. Like Chris last season went 11-3 and B went 7-7. So like, yeah, like Chris, I think is just slightly ahead of B, even though B's kind of in the lead right now. But they just had a matchup and Chris beat him. So, yeah. But regardless, this is kind of so. These are like the bottom teams. Biff is like this. I'll do like an orange. Do like an orange for Biff is like an orange. Mnez, I'll make a fucking purple for Mnez. God, that looks ugly. I'll do like a green for Mnez too. I'll explain the color coding in a second. Let me cook. Let me in the kitchen. Now, this is such a weird thing to be in, but I'm not even going to color code the rest. I'm just going to talk it over. I think these 3 very clear bottom. I think Biff is he's like in a league of his own right now. Like it's very on him to cut out his own season. He needs to prove it. Mnez, I'm not super worried about, but it is. Chase is stepping up and you're not. Is a very weird thing. Noah and JC, I'm not super worried about, but not the starts they should be looking at. Woo. I've kind of already talked about all the teams. I'm not gonna really get all over it because like I think this league is so just it's very mishmash this season. But regardless, I gave all my thoughts. That's the video. This is for what, like an hour-long fucking video now? Yeah, 54 minutes. Jesus Christ. But yeah, this is the power rankings. I think these are very clear top 2. These are very clear bottom 3. The rest is preference, but since I'm the one making the video and the people want me to do the power rankings, this is what I say, god damn it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm ready for the arguments in the Discord, and I'm gonna get on out of here.